What's up, everybody?
Your hood's a little too far forward.
Sorry, I'm not as experienced.
I'm
not as experienced. I don't know if this is. I think it's fine. What's up, everybody?
Howdy. It's Connie.
You are not seeing double, Connie. You are just seeing me in the flesh at the ThePrimeagen's compound. Welcome, everybody. And I'm super excited to announce this week's Dev Tool Time. We've got with me Primeagen in person. Prime, would you like to say hello?
Hello.
And we've also got our co-host, Thorsten Ball,
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a nice little picture right there.
This is how it should be displayed all the time.
It's the right ratio. Oh, so here's the thing. 2 people here. How many books have you written?
None.
None. I've never written any books, but Thorsten, on the other side of the screen, has written 2 whole books.
Okay, so, I see how that works. Actually, I did write one blog post once.
Okay, that's why we're sharing this side of the screen.
It's not the same. I would argue that it did contain a lot of words. It actually contained more words in the title than the body.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's weird, but yeah.
Good
for you.
That seems pretty reasonable to me.
No, it's about words and pictures, not titles.
See, here's the problem is I never told you where I made that
blog post.
Maybe we should show them.
Yeah, we could show them here, but I just gotta I gotta find
Did I just step into a trap or something?
It's a trap.
It is a Boolean trap.
It's a trap. I feel like this whole thing is a trap.
Oh man, I don't even know how to find this thing here.
Why am I small now?
We're gonna try to find it. Hold on, here we go. Let's see if we can find it on here.
Hey. Oh, no,
oh, there you go. What is the best text editor using science? Vim. Boom. That's it. That's all you gotta do. That's an article right there.
Gotta admit, that's a good blog post. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Are you gonna argue with science?
I mean, unless if you deny science.
It's more of it's more a paper than a book, is it?
Yeah, it's an abstract, really.
Yeah. Scientific literature, it's a different game.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably been cited thousands of times now. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it has,
but we'd have to check one of the journal searchers to know that kind of info.
ThePrimeagen et al.
By the way, do we read chat while doing this Sourcegraph thing, or do you guys ignore chat?
No, we can definitely talk to chat.
Okay, because I'm not going to read what Nightshade dude said.
We don't have to read it out loud, but we can, if they have a good question, you can reference it and answer the question, of course. Okay. So most of the time when Connie talks, they're good questions, and then we have some other chatters like Nightshade. We'll ignore for now.
Okay, we'll ignore.
Cool. So let's shall we get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Excellent. So as our normal custom,
can we do that little side by side again? I like that view.
Oh, you want this?
I thought that was really.
Is this view better? I think this view is maybe a little better.
Nah.
This is good because it's my name.
Yeah, then we can see his name more. And
no
when I do this too, but just to remind people, if you are interested in finding Thorsten Ball's books, as I'm contractually obligated to mention each episode, you may check them out at thorstenball.com/books.
Yep.
So we can keep that up first.
There's a point in the future where we'll get into trouble with this. We cannot use a company Twitch show to promote my books. Or you cannot use the Sourcegraph show.
You got to get a foreword by Sourcegraph into your book. If you had a foreword, I think that would work out, right? Because then it's just a professional mention right there.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah,
we'll wait till someone tells us.
It's better to ask for forgiveness. We all know this, okay? It's just the way to go.
People are asking in the chat, are we side by side for real? Yes. I don't know if we have the
can't green screen that hand, okay?
No, I don't think we have the skills for such a thing.
Harder. You gotta get there. You go. You gotta get into the mic.
Right in the mic. Oh wait, turn on the echo and then we'll do it. I don't know if it did anything, but
weak.
Yeah, but the problem is I have my the attack is a little it's that sound isn't long enough.
So we should talk a little bit about how you get that set up. Perhaps we can show the picture of your setup.
All right, hold on. Let me. I have to go to my twitch.tv/ThePrimeagen chat to go find this out.
Nice.
Type !setup in the Primeagen's Twitch channel for more information.
Honestly, the hardware thing this is what I'm most interested in.
So we got the Stream Deck. if you're not familiar with the Stream Deck, if I just happen to press this, me and TJ are in our cube, right? You know, this is really where I'm at right now, but I wanted to switch camera. So we're going to turn off that camera and go back to the front-facing camera.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. So that's that. These are the nice AKG 712s. Beautiful. This is Voidwalker by AU5. Good times. Kinesis keyboard. Oh, way over there. Kinesis keyboard. TKO. We got my System 76 laptop, my Go XLR, my Acer Predator monitor. Recommended by Dr. Disrespect, by the way.
So this is quite different for those of you who attended last episode compared to Amir's setup. So Amir was all about having a ton of monitor space, but Prime, you're pretty much a single monitor kind of guy.
Yeah, the center one that has the 60 on it right here, this is the only monitor I actually use. This is just simply so that I can, this is a separate computer running a stream.
Yeah. So, how much space do you have behind your desk? This looks like you're half the room. No. Sorry, from on that pictures. Well, in front of you. Yeah, this way.
Oh, that actually is very, very long. In fact, it's so long. I think TJ would like to take you up to the VIP lounge right now. Oh, it's out of focus. Oh gosh.
Lots of room for activities.
Oh, TJ, you're the fire can. You're the fire can, TJ.
You can't show that screen. That's got a company.
That does have a company on it. Anyway, so there we go. So yeah. So that's the whole area over there. That's like that's what, 10-foot wall.
Yeah. What's the big black thing standing in the middle of the room? Is that light for the ceiling?
Light. Yeah, it's light. Yeah. And so
Thorsten's awfully proud of himself. He got a ring light recently.
Nice. I got a couple of those.
Check out how bright it can get. No, this is how warm it can get. This is look at this.
Oh gosh. Oof.
Yeah.
I saw your camera kind of flood out there for a second. All right, let's look.
Beautiful.
So, Thorsten, you may not realize this, but it looks like you have auto white balance on. Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah, really makes some shoddy quality work on the camera.
Yes.
Well, I read books, yeah. So.
Okay there, guy.
Okay, so tell them a little bit more about what's going on.
Wow, you just got cheered.
Oh, no, that's you. Someone cheered it on your channel. We have you have stream notifications.
Okay,
on.
that is inappropriate,
Lithium Classic.
This is not the time.
Okay, well, how do we got to turn those off?
Do we?
Oh, they don't make sound, right?
No.
Okay, then it's fine.
Yeah, we only have this old guy coming through.
Okay, excellent.
Thanks, Lithium.
So that's what Stream Deck can do. So you've got a bunch of different scenes on there, different stuff going on that can control a lot of settings. That's integrated with OBS.
OBS. Okay. Yeah, that's about it.
You actually have OBS running on a different computer, though.
I do. I actually stream from Windows.
True.
Wait, what? Sorry.
I
explained this.
Did you see that? Here, I'll jump back here just in case you missed it. This Go XLR, no drivers for Windows. Stream
Linux,
Deck,
you mean?
Or for a Linux. Stream Deck, no drivers for Linux, if I can remember correctly. So everything just, and plus Windows, I update it and it tends to work 80% of the time. I recently just updated Ubuntu and it took me 2 days to figure out why my video drivers were broken. So I don't really want to,
Yeah, I get it.
You connect You connect it to the Windows computer via a capture card.
Okay, hold on. I that's it. We're disabling these. Get out of here. Stop doing things to my stream.
1 second, chat.
Don't worry, they can't. We can just keep on going.
Oh yeah,
they'll have no idea. All right, sorry, but alerts have been stopped. Oh crap! I just stopped the virtual camera.
Yeah, there we go. We're back.
I'm still live, so
yeah. Don't worry, it's okay. We're back in.
Okay, so, anyways, where did we lost Thorsten? Oh, there we go.
No, we didn't.
No, I'm here.
I wanted to see him. I mean, I couldn't see him from where we had before.
Yeah. Okay.
I like seeing him during the show. So you've got a capture card connects to Windows. Which is nice.
I have a Elgato 4K Pro, so I can go all the way in. But I also have a bonus one somewhere around here that I need to start using.
Sorry. What's it? I heard about this. What's this capture card? You have your Linux computer on which you do your programming.
Correct. So the image that you're looking right here is actually passed through my Windows computer. Super low latency, so it's like renders in a millisecond.
Yeah.
And then it comes back out to this thing. So that way, the reason why you get a 4K capture card is when I switch over to say some gaming, I can actually get 120 frames a second and still have it go into OBS and not be pegged according to whatever capture device you're doing. Because you know, Windows, it can't you can't split a view with different frame rates, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But your Linux machine is connected to that monitor, or is that
my Linux machine
basically headless?
No. My Linux machine's connected to the capture card. The capture card is then connected to my monitor.
It splits, right? There's one part that goes to the
no. It goes Linux to capture card.
Yeah.
Capture card to this.
Yeah, but doesn't the capture card also connect to the Windows computer? That's what he's saying.
It connects to my streaming one. Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's wondering how you
capturing part of the capture card
and this going on.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So recently I've been having a problem where, you know, if I tried to compile something from a language that starts with an R and ends with bust, you know, rhymes with bust, where the rest of my computer like locks up and then my stream goes, you know, kind of like this.
Yeah.
So he gets to avoid that by just pushing the video through to here, and then you're safe. So it's a good setup for that.
Yeah, so no matter what I do on this one, so even if I do play video games or I program or whatever, I compile, because I've had to restart my computer a few times, because, you know, for fun, I'll do like a -J69, and then I'll freeze my computer thinking, oh, I'm just going to compile one file, and it ends up being 300, and then I just have to power down the computer.
And the stream never stops. It's just they see your computer dying.
And my camera's still there, so I'm like, hold on, let it re-go. We're going to type it all in. Yeah.
That part's super nice. I feel like there's a Linux joke in there where the gaming streamers use it for performance and you use it because there's no Linux drivers for your stream day.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's sad. But it's the life I live.
But how complicated is it in day-to-day? Is it super... I mean, you have a routine, I assume, but is it weird that you're on your Linux machine, you're typing away, but then you realize, oh no, this thing is actually running on that other machine?
So the one thing that sucks is when I'm in a meeting, I have my Google Hangouts on my Windows machine. And then if someone's just like, hey, I sent you the message, it's like, bling, in the Google Hangouts, I go, I can't have that. You got to send it to me via Slack. That's impossible. That's on a Windows machine. It's the keyboard's in QWERTY. And I can't type on that kind of keyboard, so I'm just like, I can't touch that. I don't know.
Dvorak,
so you just click on it.
I use Dvorak, by the way. Custom symbol layouts, by the way.
Oh, that's nice.
The real programmers.
I wrote a keyboard layout. I don't know if you know that.
I heard about it.
So that's most of the hardware. But do you want to talk about the Go XLR? Because I think it's got some fun features that you use as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can really just look these things up, but it has a sampler, so I can actually make like things repeat, or I could have buttons that I could press that would play stuff. I got a beeper just in case I want to say some right. And so you got that one. Of course, you got the
different voice effects. I can go real deep. I can also go real high.
You know, it's just a thing I can do. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
It's a little weird, but it's a little nice.
There you go. Yeah,
that's for meetings.
That's for meetings. Yeah.
Nice. Expensive.
It is. It's about $500. You could easily get one. Expensive. It's for company morale if you really wanted to. Plus, you also get the ability to run a 48 shadow volt microphone without having to buy like a preamp or anything. And so I have a nice XLR on it, and so I can get a better microphone. And it's the reason why if I had it right here, I sound significantly better than a crappy, you know, USB mics just usually don't sound nearly as good.
Yeah.
I have no idea why though.
It seems like it should be possible to solve.
Is it the DAC? Is it the ADC, the analog to digital converter? ADC?
Yeah. Might be, but it's also maybe because the companies don't overlap. Like audio companies are not companies that use USB stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'd buy that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have the same problem. I need this preamp, and it's not fun.
No. I got tired of dealing with that, so tried to look for a thing. Yeah, most people don't get nice mics. This is very, very true. Most mics are just terrible.
Or you can be like me and have this same microphone, but it sounds way worse for me.
I know. Whenever you're talking, it kind of sounds like this. You're like, hey, guys, I got a new microphone. Does it sound good?
Yeah, that is pretty much what happens.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I listened back to some of the things. I'm like, I don't understand. I literally bought the microphone Prime told me he has. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but oh well.
It's the ADC.
Yeah, it's definitely user error. That's clear. But All right, so that's the hardware. Thorsten, you have any other questions about it? Anything you're interested in hearing about?
It's all super interesting, but of course, we can move on to software, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, yes, he is here in person.
Yeah, this is real. This is real. Chat still doesn't believe it, but we're hanging out. We're hanging out.
You know what? He's hanging out, and there's paint on the walls. Okay, it's paint. Look at it.
Classic.
It has to be the weirdest scene that's ever happened on this channel.
Yeah. No, not even close. Oh, on this channel. Yes.
Yeah, on this channel.
Yes, on this channel, right? Because we're on Sourcegraph's channel.
Yeah.
Where I work. I'm I'm on my best behavior. All right, let's move on to software.
Yeah, I like software.
All right, hit us with the basics. What's your basic setup? Of course, chat. Everyone wants to know, what font are you using, Prime?
All right, so this is actually my most frequent question, which is actually very funny. TJ, I think you said it best, which is when someone gets a new computer, the first thing they do is change their font.
Mm-hmm.
Then ask me, what font do I have? And I said, well, I didn't change my font, so I don't know. It's the default one. Whatever one comes with Ubuntu is the font I use. It always actually does look completely nice. I think people just have perception issues.
Yeah,
it's not nice until it's the nice one. Then it's the nice one, and they assume that I use a nice one. So when they see mine, they're like, oh, that one's a nice one. What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just default.
And what terminal do you use?
Oh, I use the default. Xterm 250. It came out before I was born, 1984.
Yeah.
People have been working on it for longer than I've been alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice terminal. It works.
But so that's not all you're using, though. What else do you have going on in your day-to-day setup here?
Okay, well, here, I'll show you something that I personally find to be the best of all the situations, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. If I go like this, I go NVIM, right? I hit an NVIM, and you can see I'm on 459. Now, that might be a little bit embarrassing because that's kind of far behind. So I can go in here, and I can go to Ansible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Ansible Playbook, and I'm going to go and build myself the nice Neovim thing right here. It's going to make sure I have all the system packages, build essential, which no one spells correct the first time, pthread library. Uh-oh, what is this? Oh no, something's happened. Oh, wow, this is
you checked out the specific tag or something weirdly?
No, I just check out master.
Oh.
Failed to download remote objects and revs.
Oh, weird. Oh, it existed. There's something. Oh, stable would. Oh, you guys did some sort of update, force push to stable.
I didn't do it. Don't look at me.
This is what we'll do. We'll go like this. We'll ARM RDF Neovim. By the way, you don't need to say RDF. Oh gosh, don't you do this to me. There we go. Let's just go like that. Oh wait. Oh no. All right. Let's try this again. So I'm gonna do that one more time, just in case. This should work. I mean, theoretically, this should work. So now I'm cloning down Neovim. So what this will do effectively, all I do instead, so this is Ansible. This is my favorite thing that I have, which when I get my new machine right here.
Oh, that sounds great.
All I do is just type in a couple words and my passcode, and it will set everything up for me. And so that's kind of like what I do. I use this like once a week to update Neovim. I don't have to remember all these things.
You use Ansible to manage your whole machine then, not just for Neovim.
Yeah, but you can do these nice little tags. So I'm only dealing with Neovim right now.
Yeah,
which is really, really
like
nice.
System packages and whatnot,
System
and
packages,
also your
dot files. I use stow to install my dot files, but I use Ansible to get stow and to execute stow depending on the operating system I'm using. So one day, if I do not have any children anymore, I'll install Arch, and then I'll be able to have an Arch stow installation. I'll be pretty proud of that.
Then you'll still be behind the times because
you'll be Gen 2 by that point.
Connie's
Gen
telling
3
you
by that point.
You need to do NixOS instead.
Oh yeah, NixOS. I've heard about this.
Mm-hmm.
I still have kids though, so I got a while.
Yeah,
but the use case is the same, right? You want a reproducible configuration of your system.
Yeah, really, that's all.
And this is you can just run this a bunch of times a day, and it just tries to keep it up to date.
Yeah, that's all it does.
Yeah, I think the difference for you, right, is that it's not necessarily that it has to be exactly reproducible, right? Because you're getting an updated version of Neovim when you do this. So there's some sort of like, I just actually want the latest version of this rather than sort of like thinking about that.
There you go. I'm at 5.14 now.
Mm-hmm.
I got 20 new commits. Last time I updated it, by the way, I seg faulted like 15 times. So I had to back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't blame me. I haven't been doing anything. I've been too busy reading Thorsten's book.
Yeah.
At this point, though, shout out to Neovim because it's super easy to build from source compared to any other open source project. You just git clone it and cmake, and off it goes. It installs all the dependencies. It's pretty nice.
It's actually just make install sudo make install, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make and cool. Sudo make install, right? Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Prime, when you were moving over to this Ansible thing, you typed tmux sessionizer. What was that?
Well, I didn't type tmux sessionizer. I actually just pressed Control F. Now, Control F does this nice little beautiful thing. So what I do is I take every folder in my home directory, every folder in my personal directory, and every folder in my work directory, put them all together with sweet bash, which means I have no idea how I did it, and then I pipe it to tmux. Tmux will then give me this nice little, or not tmux, but FCF. So I can go like this, TVY for Netflix right there. Boom, I got TVY. I hit enter. Yeah. It actually starts a new, here, actually, let's go like this. Tmux kill server. There we go. I have no more tmux, right? So I'm going to do Control F. I'm in Zish right now, so it just does that. Go to TVY. It'll start tmux, make sure I'm all there. And so if I do this, you'll notice I'll have a session named TVY, which is the name of the folder I'm in. And so that it's really nice. So that way when I go say, let's go with, what is it? Refactoring. I'll go here. Now I go here. You'll notice that I have a name called refactoring and one called TVY, which means that if I go here, I can now press Control A, which is my prefix, Shift L to go to my previous session. I'm in my previous session, right? I have alternate session all set up, all those nice things.
And so if you hit Control F and you type in TVUI again, it will jump to the existing tmux session.
There you go.
Oh, nice. Okay, I need to steal this. Where, for all people watching and myself, most importantly, where can we find all this?
Well, funny you should ask. So I have this GitHub, right? And for a while, I had something called dot files. And then I didn't like these dot files. So I made dot files too. Dot files.
Oh,
yeah, it's hidden. It's smart. It's 200 IQ.
This is mostly because he leaks all the time. Yeah. So it's like,
I got to get away from this one.
Yeah, he's hiding it in here just in case he leaked something because it's hidden now.
Yep. So it's in my local bin, where I have my screen key, I have my sessionizer, and I have my windowizer. My windowizer, this one's pretty clever. All this one does, it allows you to execute a command. Oh, yeah, I can zoom in. Sorry. I'm just used to using Vim where everything's always correct. Effectively, all I do is I have this nice way that I calculate target based on the path you pass into me. So say you pass in your present working directory. It's going to do a nice little thing based on your branch name and some smart ideas, and it will create a consistent named window that you can just send commands to. So that way, when I'm using git work trees, which you are curious about, I can actually send commands out that will build the correct thing, also using the correct path. Here's a good example. So let's go here. Let's go to NRDP. By the way, did you see that little sweet move? I'll do one more for you.
Do it in slow-mo.
No, you won't even be able to see it. It's not that. Is that I also have it in, what is it? What are we called? Oh yeah, I don't have find hidden on, so I have to just manually do this. But in my tmux conf, I also have some keys that are hard linked to specific folders, so that way I can just go like prefix.
That's smart.
Go to TVY, NRDP, Milo, NRDJS, whatever, right? So I can just kind of jump there.
You're in insert mode.
Yeah, I got into insert mode there for a second. There you go. So I'm in this. So if I open up Vim, right? I'm in Vim. So I have a bunch of different versions of the television app for Netflix. So by the way, NRDP stands for Netflix Ready Device Platform.
He works at Netflix.
Hey, by the way, I work at Netflix. We ship DVDs.
It's crazy. A lot of DVDs.
And I think we're going to be opening up a new revenue stream, VHSs.
Everyone's into the retro these days.
Yeah, and then the Pro plan, Betamax.
You never know.
Well,
you never know.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's going to be hot. I think it's going to be hot. So let's say I'm going to choose myself one of my many branches, right? So let's go to 21.1. It will then navigate to that folder, set my current working directory to that folder. But the cooler thing is it named something inside my session, the name after the branch. And then look, hey, by the way, your build has just completed. It does that and kicks off a bunch of stuff for it to build and do all that. So when I actually go to number 2.
We should slow down. What
exactly? Rewind.
Sorry, there's just so many great things happening.
Just tell us what a work tree is first.
Okay, hold on. We just hopefully we're not leaking anything. I don't want you to see anything like this. This is TJ working on a little bit of Rust.
It's true. Real life pictures.
Real life work setup here. Yeah.
Yep, 1080. There we go. All right, so if you're not familiar with the Git work
Well,
tree,
wait, before you start, just draw a straight line and show them freehand.
well, see, now I'm on the spot. I don't know if I can do it. See, look at that.
No,
I
that
got
one
a
was
little
bad.
nervous.
That's
There
okay.
you go. Look at that.
Look at
that free line straight draw right there. That is pretty good. I'm just saying that's nervous. We got people in the room watching me. It's pretty hard to be that good.
Now you can do work trees.
Now I can do work trees. So, thank you, Yannick. All right. So classically, when you clone something down, you do like a git clone, right? And inside that folder, you just have a work tree. Is really what you're doing. It's your primary work tree, I think, is the proper name to it. Whereas when you do a different style of cloning, you can actually use linked work trees with like a primary commit. But I find them terribly messy because then you have your primary folder. Then you'll have to like do stuff outside your. It just don't do it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I do is I do a bare checkout. Now, bare checkouts cause something really weird to happen. When you look at here, I'll quit this. When you look at this, I have things like right now I'm in NRDP, right? So I have things like fetch head. You'll have a bunch of stuff in here that are just all there you go, objects, info, logs, all that kind of crap, right? That's just like Git management stuff. And you also even have work trees, which is my work trees. But so we go back here. So this just has like your basic Git management in here. And so what I do is you can check out work trees, which is just a specific commit, and you can give them a name. And so that way I can say check out master, call it master. There it is. It's right there. And inside my subdirectory, I'll have that. So the outer one is still a Git directory in which I can do like git fetch all, make sure everything's updated. But then I can actually have multiple commits checked out at once. For me, this is really, really nice because even if you're working on, say, like a Node app where there's billions of dependencies, you can still have them all have their each unique state. So you don't have to do that weird game where you have to like stash something, check something else out, make sure you do the installation, then do the check, do whatever you need to do. And you maybe accidentally stash something from there. Then you have to like do that weird stash navigation to find the one that you actually want back in that other branch you did have, or maybe you lost it. Right? Like that just doesn't exist anymore, right? Because you now have a folder per checkout. And
one other thing that's cool too that I've done is at the base directory, you can put shared scripts that you want to run in each branch, but just call it via some relative path, which is really sweet. So I have like a testing script for some stuff that sets up like
really nice.
Watching and running some subset of the tests. Well, then I always just call /test.sh.
And it just uses that. It just uses and assumes.
Yeah, right. It assumes that I'm in the base.
Well, you know what might be kind of nice for you then? Inside of, I don't know if you know this, but inside of my work tree, I did put a nice little hook. So when there is an on-tree change, it'll tell you what operations, switch, create, or delete, and the path to that directory, and if there's an upstream associated with it. So then you can do some stuff. So I have, if it's NRDP, go off, kick off something. Now this uses my windowizer, and go and run a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is how you got the notification thing up here.
Yeah, that let me know that I've just built something.
Because you have an additional plugin for Neovim.
Yep.
Called Git Work Trees that actually like allows
Polar Mutex built it, by the way. I named it and I wrote the first line of code, and then he fixed all the bugs.
Yeah, it was literally like, what if we had a plugin that made using work trees cool? And so you like made the repo, and then it's just like pull request, all Polar.
Yeah, all Polar Mutex. Nothing to do with me.
But so that's how when you used Telescope, of course. To switch to the new work tree and you move to that work tree, right? There's some stuff that you can have automatically run on those changes, and that's how you ran that command, and then it sent that notification up in the top when that got built.
Yep.
So you cannot. That means, but you have your bare repository cloned. You cannot CD into it and do stuff. You need to check out a work tree first, right?
Yeah. So you have your bare checkout, and that's like your pointer. It points to nothing, but it says it's on whatever main branch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can still do stuff, right? And then you like, here's a good one. If you know TLDR, you can just do git work tree, and it'll just tell you all the things you need to remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Okay, I just need to do that. Okay. Perfect. Boom. Right.
So it fixes my big problem. That is, I'm on a branch. I'm trying to create a PR, and I realize I need to fix this too, but it's completely unrelated. So I could now stash it, go back to main master, whatever it is, check out a new thing based on main master, make the change, push it up, go back to my other branch, git stash pop, hopefully not lost what was on the stash.
Exactly.
So with this, I could say, all right, I'm in my work tree, but now check out another work tree where I can make this other fix and push that up, and then you switch. Okay.
Yeah, and so you always have a folder for every one. Then if you you can just delete those folders instead of doing like get work tree remove. You can just delete the folders, and then at some point it automatically does do pruning for you, or you can just manually call work tree prune. It'll just make sure all the references and everything are cleaned up.
Yeah, it's especially nice for keeping, especially if you know you're about to change some dependency. So like we have sometimes multiple repos, right? You're going to change some other repo, but like it's not the only project you're working on, right? So this lets you do like you change the dependencies, but you don't have to like have npm or go or anything install the different versions every time. They're all just like in their little folders. And then whenever you're like, I just cd into here, start. We have a very awesome tool called SG that Thorsten wrote a lot of at work. So you can do SG start, you know, like code intel is what I run, and it starts up our whole code intel stack. So I can actually have those be running different like dependencies all the time, which is super nice. So it never like bothers itself between the branches.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love work trees. I do have to give a proper shout out to. I always keep doing that. Anders Bakken. He's the one. By the way, he also works at Netflix longer than I've been working there, and he wrote R tags. This was like language server before language server, right? And it's based on Emacs, so I mean, you can't argue with that, right? But it's awesome. So he's like the man. He's just like, dude, why are you switching branches? You should never switch branches. I'm like, what do you mean? He's just like, switching branches is an anti-pattern. Do this, and I was just like, oh yeah. I will never switch a branch again. Why would I ever switch a branch? This is dumb, right?
Yep.
You get all sorts of state issues, right? Like, just don't ever switch a branch. You always just create get a new one.
Yeah. So, and you have integrations then in Vim and in tmux. In tmux too.
Well, tmux is just a windowizer, right? The windowizer actually has nothing to it, right? So I can go like this. Tmux windowizer. Oh my goodness, is it not completing? Are you not in my path? Am I spelling this wrong? I have NRDP and Sessionizer. Why is that not working? Dot files stow bin. Why have I not
rehash?
Oh yeah. The smart man there.
There you go.
There it is, Windowizer. I wonder why that wasn't there for a second. Here we go. So I can like this. Same on path, foo, baz, and then of course the branch name is bar. And then I can go like this, echo, hello world, right? Hit enter. Notice that it created bar down here, which is the name of this thing right here, the path that I was in, and it just hello world for me. And so that means when I go back here and I re-execute it, you want to guess what happened? And re-execute it, I can just keep sending commands to this tmux window. And it just kind of creates it and keeps everything nice for me. Because the hard part about it, if you just go like this, tmux new window, and then you name it like foo, right? And then you send it a command, say bash c echo hello world, right? Yeah. If you do that, notice that there's nothing here. You know why? Well, the reality is that once this process is done, it kills the whole thing. So sleep 10, you'll notice foo's here now. And so once 10 is done, it dies. And so for me to be able to have persisting named, consistently named windows, I can do this.
And then you combine it and say, give me one window where you're inside this specific work tree, this branch, this tag, and build it on there and stuff like this.
Yeah, so I use my work tree path name as my window name inside my current session. So that means I can have multiple work trees for multiple projects being able to do even the same named names across them because they're different sessions. Hence the reason why I have Sessionizer and Windowizer, right? Just trying to, trying to keep that life good.
So I have to take a step back. You use tmux heavily. Does that mean you don't use anything else outside of tmux? i3 or any other window manager?
I use i3, but really, I mean, I don't know why even. I only now and then use it for that. But I use it for, so here's my window command. That's why you see me keep doing this a bunch. Is because for whatever reason, this is my personal browsing. So this is where I have like my, this is where I have my Git or my Discord where I constantly leak personal conversations on stream. I have like all my personal stuff in here, right? And then usually what I end up doing is I separate this out, and my like professional one I always have on 2, which I don't know where I just did with that one.
I think we closed everything
so
that we didn't leak anything.
Yeah, there we go. We closed everything. So that way when I'm coding, it's always in number 3 for me, which is my middle finger.
Yeah.
It's just always mod 3. Mod 2 is always my business browsing. Number 1 is my personal browsing. 4, I still don't know. Right now, it's that. I don't know what that is. 5 is Slack, which will show up on screen, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And 6 is always GIMP. It's just always right there.
Always ready to draw.
I'm always ready to use GNU image manipulation program.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
I think one thing that's
cool,
and
7 for VPN, but there's no VPN right now.
One thing that's cool that you do that I have been like trying to implement as well for some stuff is thinking about how to make like repeatable shortcuts. And so just like how you showed, like each of these workspaces always has a particular thing, you also have this idea a lot, like even for, okay, I've got some shortcuts to send me to this project because you do that project 90% of your dev time, right? So it's like, okay, well, you're going to do that. So you get that, but also within files and like within Vim, you do this sort of thing as well. Maybe we can show a little bit of that just a short little bit of Harpoon.
Okay. So really so I should give a touch of a backstory.
Yeah.
Just a touch. I don't want to do too much. Effectively, how all of this has happened is because I just got so sick of fuzzy finders. Because obviously before fuzzy finders, I used the file tree and a mouse. Click around in NetBeans, right?
Yeah.
Got to my file. Then fuzzy finders came around. It was huge. It was awesome improvement. But what ends up happening is every time I want to change to something, I've memorized like it's capital T little n to go to this one file because that will give it the minimal amount. So then I have to store this huge amount of like bespoke info in my head that works temporarily, right? Until someone names a file that can match the same thing but better for FCF or FCY, then you're screwed again. Then you have to I gotta come up with my new shortcut, right? And so it's one of those things where I got so sick of having to do that I had to come up with a new form of navigation. And so I kind of call this my Harpoon lifestyle, right? Because, Harpoons, you have to be incredibly accurate to use. But really, I actually named it after a pegboard nerd song, Harpoon. Just because it was just whatever I was listening to at the time of creating it. I don't know
That's why. Serendipity.
It's serendipity, okay? So that's why whenever I go to number 3, it's always my work terminal. There's nothing else on it. So I don't even have to think. My brain no longer responds to what I'm thinking. It's just like my spinal cord is just there responding to everything. So I don't have to like process any input up here because you get decision fatigue or what I like to refer to as search fatigue. That's my TEDx talk, by the way. Thank you for coming to my TEDx talk. I've been working on it for a very, very, very long time. And so it's just like I don't want to have to think anymore, right? So anytime I spend time thinking or searching for something that I should already have access to, I've lost, right? I fundamentally am using brain power that just does not need to be used.
That's why I said it's interesting because I have a terminal full screen all the time and then mostly a browser. That's the main two programs. But then if I have another program open, say Zoom or Slack or whatever it is, my, Alt tab, Command tab, whatever gets mixed up sometimes. And then you go back and forth. But all you want to do is hit the same thing and say, go to the browser or go back to the terminal.
Yes, and so really what Alt Tab is doing is actually mimicking alternate file. You're pressing a single button, which goes to your previously opened item. And so alternate file is a super convenient concept, but it fundamentally breaks down at 3. Because once you do a third one, it breaks your alternate file, which breaks your brain ability to remember what it is, which I actually did try to implement in Vim AF++. Where is it? I think I actually even have it up, which is alternate file ++. I thought I had it up. Did I not have it up? AF. Let's see. Hold on. I know I have it. Alternate. Let's see. Alternate file plus.
Isn't it the only thing that's
There you go. It's named after. Whoa. This is. Oh dang it! I go to that Git memory business. What is Git memory? Why is? Oh my goodness.
What is this?
It's this. Dude, they've been showing up higher in search results than GitHub, and they're much better. Look at that.
Impressive. Look at them.
I know.
Look at them stealing that SEO.
They got that, and GitHub's not even on the page, right? They're doing really, really good. All right, github.com, alternate.
No, it's AF++.
Is it? Yeah. AF++. Yeah. Yes. It's actually named after Mike Tyson. And so it's called, because it's going to knock him out, right? So I was like really into this whole idea that I'm going to create a plugin that alternate file is the greatest thing ever. What happens if you have 2 alternate files? And then I fundamentally ran into the same problem as your alt tab, which is once you have one more, your brain cannot reason about it in any sort of reasonable way. You're just like, I don't remember how to do this.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't just go for AF++. At that point, you're like, well, what if we had 3 alternate files?
Because I thought that would solve it. So I actually did try jump list next. I tried to do like jump list nav, but jump list nav has the exact same problem, right? Because once you change buffers, you alter the jump list, which thus your brain cannot remember, and you're totally.
And the other problem is when you start a new Neovim thing, it's not like it populated with the 3 common files that you have every time, right?
So there you go. So that's like my idea of Harpoon, which is like I wanted something that just solves all my navigation woes, and really it's just modeled after my i3 experience, right? I don't have to think about where I need to go when I need to go show you guys and expose some of my sweet drawings, right? There's me being a scientist, right? Like you wrote a book, I happen to be a scientist, right? Like it's just different, right? And there's me being a Rust shill and all that. Oh man, at some point we should talk about this. This was the greatest thing ever. But that was the bit problem.
Today. Not today. It's a good one though.
Okay.
It's a good one.
All right,
keeping you on task. That's why I had to come in person.
To
remind him we're gonna keep on. We're gonna.
Yeah, you're kicking him under the table.
An example of using Harpoon though, because I think it gives a really good sort of like insight into how you tend to think about like using projects. Why, like what you think about making shortcuts. It's not just about being able to do something quick, which is important, but it's also about being able to do it while thinking less.
Yes.
Which I think is like really, really fun. And I've been thinking about how to do that as well more in my workflow. So maybe let's just show in refactoring and Vim.
All right. So I went to refactoring and Vim, right? I'm going to open up Vim. I'm in a Git work tree, right? So I'm going to go to local fix, which is kind of what I've been working on. And I'm simply going to press some buttons, right? And it's going to be able to do some basic navigation. Oh, Harpoon's not even up right now. Okay. Let's see if did I lose it? Every now and then I lose it and I don't know why.
It's just a bug. Don't worry about that.
All right. Well, anyways, I guess I don't have anything in here. So anyway, so here's Harpoon menu. There's nothing in here, right? So let's open up 106, Martin Fowler 106 extract function, right? And so I'm going to take that and I'm going to add it to my Harpoon menu. So I now have it in my Harpoon menu, right? By the way, Martin Fowler, by the way, it's mirrored so they know that the cake's a lie. So careful there. So let's go like this. So check this out. I'm going to move myself, say right onto this assert, right? Right at the beginning hex. In fact, let's go to the E in the assert. All right, so I'm going to quit Vim. I'm going to reopen this back up. I'm going to reopen up my work tree of local fix, and then I'm going to press navigate to that one. Look at where I'm at. And so I noticed that I'm off by 1 on the column. That's because for whatever reason, Vim chose columns to be 0-based and lines to be 1-based. Why?
We've talked about this. I wasn't around.
So it's the greatest. It's the great. What's that help thing called? It's called like window.
So the thing is, lines are 0-based, rows are 1-based, and columns are generally always 0-based. So that's why
it's called window position. What is it called?
Nvim set cursor. Win set cursor.
Nvim set. Oh yeah, win set cursor. It's my favorite API of all time. Sets the 1-0 index based cursor position in the window.
Rows are always 1-based though. That's why. Anyway,
all right. So you said your location. You put a Harpoon in your location. Boom.
I put a Harpoon in my location.
Yeah. Then you can go back to it.
Yep. So the reason. So you're probably asking, well, just use global marks, right? Problem about global marks, they're global, meaning they work in all projects uniformly. So if I were to go like this, M capital A, I just did that. Let's jump over to my dot files. I'm in my dot files. I'm going to navigate to quotes capital A. Apparently quotes capital A doesn't go. Oh, single quote capital A. Oh, this is my old global mark. For whatever reason, it didn't actually override my previous global mark. This is my current global mark, which you're not even allowed to look at. That's like important, NFT stuff. We don't want that. Yeah, we don't want that. Anyways, so global marks have this kind of odd behavior in the sense that they're global. They work in all Vim instances. So you can't have it per project. I know, classic stream right there. I had to leak at least once.
Yeah.
So there we go. So I hate that, right? And second, check this out. I'm going to go down a half page, right? And now let's open up my refactor spec, right? I'm going to add that to Harpoon. I'm going to go down.
It appears right down at the bottom there. You see how it added?
Yeah, add
for
file.
Those of you not as familiar with
Yeah.
And then there you go. So you can see 106 is my first position. Refactor spec's my second position.
And 2.
All right, so I'm going to go back to my first one. Notice it's that half page down.
What key did you press to do that?
Oh, I used Control H. Power finger, because I use Dvorak, by the way. Custom symbol Dvorak, by the way. Power finger, by the way, right? And so that I can go Control T, back to
which is your
spec,
middle finger,
right? So it's middle finger. So I have my first 4 primary fingers to go back and forth.
So it's the same thing again that you have
for i3.
I assume you use the same shortcuts in all the projects where you said, this is my primary thing that I'm working on right now. This is the secondary thing.
You got it.
In each work tree. You can jump to the primary, secondary, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah, all right. Oh, yeah.
They're just set right to my home row. I don't even think about it. I don't even have to think about it, right? And that's really nice. But here's the best part. Open up the window. I don't like how it is. I'm going to flop them position. So now let's go to my second one. It's 106, which was my first one, and now my first one is refactoring spec. So it's like easier to edit than marks. You'd have to make a mark editing UI to make this useful, and then I don't know how you'd actually do that. You'd have to do some magic and execute some.
But once again, you'd still have the problem of this is actually local to this project. So when you go to a different project, you can actually set the different ones, right? So you can do all that, and you can set it up so that whenever you hop into when I'm on, like, for me, Sourcegraph, I might have like 5 files that I'm in the most often. I could mark those, and I'd have a different set of 5 files for Telescope, obviously.
Boom. And the thing is when you're working on branches, you're likely focusing on a set of files or a bug fix. So you don't want them all to be shared among, say, like a work tree.
Yeah.
Because the work trees each have like their own focus. Local fixes is going to be heavy into 106, but it's not going to be heavy into other things.
Nice. All right. So I'm looking at the clock here. We're still good. And if we're running out of time, people have a lot of videos of yours to watch, right? But I have to ask this. Because I noticed in your videos, you always have really good key bindings. Like you have Control J and K for navigating the quick fix list, for example, which are already taken in my setup to navigate Windows.
That's a good one.
So my question is, have you ever had to rework your whole key map setup where you start from scratch and you go, it doesn't work anymore, I cannot fit tmux inside? Yeah?
Yeah, so the nice part is tmux, of course, does Control A, right? Or it does your prefix key. So you actually don't interact with tmux without doing your prefix. And so the only place that sucks is when I do auto incrementing, I have to hit Control A twice. Right? So tmux doesn't have any interference in with Vim, but I have had things where I've made the things too complex. I try to make them as close, like what I try to do is I think, okay, if I were to make this into a remap, what is the most reasonable way that I have to put as little thought into things as possible to understand it? Because I think a lot of times people just simply do mnemonics always, right? And mnemonics don't necessarily make any sense, right? I didn't want to have to do like file 1, 2, 3, 4 for Harpoon because then you have like it's off. It's not like where I want to be, right? And so I always just try to think about it in a more sensible way. And the one that I really screwed up that I'm going to go back and do differently is where are you? I don't even remember what they are. They were so terrible. I think I actually deleted them all out. Oh yeah, I did delete them all out. But I had this whole notion for Vim Inspector, where I had all this like really complicated mnemonics, and I realized that I'm just gonna have to rework those. So what I usually do is I try to separate everything out, and for the most part, I don't have any really collisions. I kind of have like some basic naming schemes in my head to make sense.
Yeah, you do. So, you also namespace some of them, right? I think I saw this. Your LSP bindings all have a V at the beginning or something.
Yes. The reason why I did that is just because it's Vim, right? So I just always think, okay, so a lot of anything that usually that's like a Lua Vim call, I'll actually have a lot of V's in front of them because I'm like, hey, I'm going to jump into the Vim thing. I kind of know generally the rest of it, and the reason why I did RR. So this is actually kind of funny. Is the reason why I did RR is because I have RN for rename. Yeah, I know. So if I would have done R, there would have been a 75 millisecond wait, and I'm not waiting 75 milliseconds. That feels like an eternity when you're waiting. So I can go right. It's just fantastic.
So what I heard, Gary Bernhardt said this a couple years back. He said he chooses his key bindings so that you don't have to press 2 consecutive letters with the same hand.
Yep, I do agree with that.
Left, right, left, stuff like this. But
then I switched to Dvorak, and I screwed all that up, and I realized I just have to get over it. So last year during VimConf, I actually did a whole talk about why Dvorak is fundamentally slower with change inside Word than QWERTY. And the reason being is that change is C with your middle finger, and Word is with your middle finger. So I think you should never do repeating keys on the same finger. But on the same hand, it's a little too much for me, right? Because I can go back and forth really, really fast between these. It's when you have to do the same thing twice. Or when you have to travel keys, it really slows down.
Yeah, he had to do that talk because he was kind of upset that my times for stuff were faster than his. We made a plugin that could show how long it took you to do various different movements by catching keystrokes inside of Vim. And so it'd be like, how long did it take you to go inside of insert mode and back and stuff like that? And so mine was faster. So he had to have a talk about Oh, that was because of his keyboard.
But I did find something interesting that if you did so the reason why I use change inside word the whole talk was change word was slow because I could use change inside word because it's CIW. So the time it takes for me to go from the C to the W, I could press the I and it's always correct. It's correct every single time. And I don't have to be inside there. So it's actually more efficient for me to use CIW even though it's one extra key. But the thing that was interesting is that when I did DIWI, I had a statistically significant faster speed typing afterwards in insert mode because I always used I as a hop off point to start typing. So my brain is more primed to start pushing in input.
Primed, by the way.
Yeah, primed, by the way. You know, hashtag Amazon Prime. Have you heard of it? But it's just like one of those things where because I've trained myself to use IA, capital I, capital A, the more I rely on that thing to start me to do it, the faster I actually was. But it was like by 300-400 milliseconds too.
And that was I finally feel understood here. This is I could never explain this to any person I know in real life, any of this, but especially not this. But I love it.
It's a little what's his name? Winston? Is it Winston? Vincent?
Oh, Vincent.
Vincent. Yeah. He said it was by far the nerdiest talk he's ever heard.
Yep.
Right. And it was at Vim conference. So I feel pretty good about that. Like I've achieved the greatest ridiculousness of all time.
But I think the general principle, which is kind of fun, and I've been thinking about it, somewhat since that talking as well as we've been talking for a while, is just starting to think about sometimes, so for you, DIWI, right? So delete inner word and then go into insert mode was faster because you didn't have to think as much about it. And so even sometimes when something's like more keystrokes or more of these other things, it's kind of fun to play the game of thinking about how you can explore thinking less for that thing and making it just obvious to do, even though it might take more physical keystrokes.
Yes.
And then it helps, it helps you keep in the groove, helps you keep doing all these other things. So it's kind of interesting that way.
It's 2 days ago, I read that gamers in Call of Duty, whatever it is, the sweaty ones, the good ones, they use, switch weapons all the time. And it looks twitchy, right? And somebody explained and said it's because they want to keep their APM high, their actions per minute. So even if nothing is happening, they want to be in the groove. They want to not be surprised if something is happening. So it's, yes, you're doing more, but you want to get into the rhythm of this. You don't want to, have a cold start or something.
I must be why I suck at Splitgate, because my APM's really low when we play.
You need to twitch more, yeah.
But I mean, there is something about that. Like when I do, I've been trying. So I've been trying since that talk. I tried for about the last year to really incorporate C to see if I can really get fast with it. And I still struggle with everything but CI word. CI word just feels natural now because I can do it a lot. It's very reproducible.
You do CI quotes a lot though.
Oh yeah, I do CI quotes a lot. But I've been trying to incorporate more CI into my life. But one thing I've noticed is that I still haven't been able to get faster than the D stuff. The reason being is that anytime I used D, I didn't have to think if I was going to be editing next or not. My brain can kind of free flow through, right? I can just DF that. And so it doesn't matter if I'm going into that motion's already hard coded in my brain. So I don't have to think about the pre-movement to the movement. And that's the problem I think about this whole conversation, because then you have to be like, okay, I got to do X then Y. But for this, I have to think about doing Y first and then doing X to do Y, right? And I think that fundamentally makes it just adds a lot of overhead. And so I've been trying it though for the last year very consistently, trying to be very good at it. And it's the same thing with like YF to yank as opposed to doing visual mode, right? It's just like it is definitely faster. But is my brain actually faster because I'm processing things in a backward sense? I need the yank, therefore I will yank, but first I want to get the selection, right? As opposed to let me get the selection, I want to yank. And so I'm kind of curious how this is working long term. So I've been trying it I've been really, really trying to do it.
That's really okay. All right, let's just get into the weeds. We're running out of time, I think, but I do visual selection first and then yank. Just muscle memory.
Yeah. So I try. So Vincent, he did turn me on to this. Is that you can turn on that little item that what is it? YF thing. It'll highlight what you yanked for a moment.
Built into Neovim now.
It's built into Neovim, right? So that little flash will help kind of program your mind to say, I yanked. And so when I do this and this, I go, oh, I could have just yanked it, right? I could have just yanked that.
The other thing too is it gives you the confidence that the motion you picked actually yanked the region that you wanted, right? So it's like you wanted to yank, you know.
If I want to get that whole paragraph, I can see myself get that whole paragraph.
Right. That part's pretty cool.
Yeah. YAP, by the way. Yeah. The greatest ever.
Cool. Well, I think we're probably just about out of time. I think we got to cover quite a bit of, you know, a range of different parts of what your setup is. I think if you're interested more in hearing about Harpoon, this weekend will be VimConf. ThePrimeagen and I are hosting. That's why we're in person together. Woo! Not just because of this, but also only partially because of this. And so you'll be able to hear more about it there. If you have any other questions or thoughts, you should definitely check out ThePrimeagen on YouTube. There's lots of great videos showing different parts about his workflow, different things that are going on there. You can follow him on Twitter for memes that are like a little bit worse than mine, but still pretty good.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
And other than that, I think we're probably just about out of time. So
you forgot to say that I'm also on Twitch.
Oh, he's on Twitch. We're here on Twitch, twitch.tv/ThePrimeagen. Don't forget to send your primes to ThePrimeagen. That's what they named it after him.
Yeah. And Jeff Bezos gave me a call on a Thursday. It was kind of an inconvenient call, but I decided to answer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. He said he was wondering if he could name it after us, and I said, "Yeah, that's okay. You can go back to that one if you want to."
There we go. Nice. Yeah, and so in 2 weeks we'll have Roger Papay on for talking to us, and so we'll do some really interesting stuff. I believe about Nix, if I recall, right?
No. He uses the Acme editor.
Oh yes, he uses the Acme editor.
So he's a Go contributor. He's known in the Go community, and Acme is a Plan 9. Plan 9 operating system. It's the editor of this. It uses corded mouse combinations.
It's a
different world.
You're gonna have to come in 2 weeks and find out. Okay. So it's gonna be very, very, very interesting, very, very different. A lot of new stuff going on. So that's pretty exciting. Last but not least, thanks of course, Thorsten, for hanging out with us and for enjoying some time together. Maybe someday we'll get to do one with all three of us in person.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be wild.
Yeah, that would be cool. So with that, we're going to sign off. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. Thanks for talking and for learning more. If you liked this, or if you have other questions, reach out on Twitter, either to Sourcegraph or Prime directly or to us. And we're happy to talk more about the things. And yeah, we'll see everybody later. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.